Hey, it's Monday, December 11th, and I spent the day decorating for the holidays. I put up the tree and we put up lights outside and just hung a bunch of little lights. So it made me realize that I should probably do a This Week in Marvel Unlimited Reading Club holiday edition. I believe that this is their final holiday edition, but they might have one more. I really have been enjoying these stories because it's fun to see a bunch of different characters all in sort of the holiday Christmas time setting. And they also do kind of snarky stories as part of these collaborations, which I really appreciate. So the reading for this week is two comics. It is the Marvel Digital Holiday Special, which is a digital-only comic released in 2008, and there's part 1 and part 2. And it's kind of cool that they do digital-only comics as well. Like, I read all my comics digitally. I own some paper comics, but I just don't have the kind of space to physically buy all the things that I like to read, so I really like digital comics. Then my iPhone just holds them all. And so I like that they have created a digital-only comic. I'm going to talk a little bit about the stories. There are 7 stories across these two comics, some of which I was really excited for and some of which were a little bit strange. So the first one was called If the Fates Allow, and it was a very sweet X-Men story. It basically followed Storm as she flew from the East Coast to San Francisco, where the X-Men have their home base, like Mutant Kind has their home base. And there's a lot about San Francisco being such an accepting place, especially in 2008. This makes a lot of sense. San Francisco was sort of on the edge of like a lot of the no-hate fights and all of that. And so it was cool to see like the X-Men all working together, and it was mutants and regular people all working together, talking about how wonderful and welcoming San Francisco was, with a little bit of a bittersweet note because everybody missed Kitty Pryde. And this was really cool too because, of course, Kitty was the figurehead of the X-Men story that I read in the last holiday special. So it was cool to see them all sort of missing her and wanting her to come back. And I'm not sure where she would be in the continuity at this time. If she's off in space somewhere, though, is the feeling I get. Because it ends with Dazzler sending a light into space and them hoping that she would see it and return home. But it was nice to see all of the happiness and all of them working together along with like the bittersweet sort of missing people thing. I've decided that that's maybe the X-Men vibe. Like, happy but not totally happy. The second story was called Last Christmas. So this story was about a Skrull who was sent to Earth to infiltrate, was a bartender, and ran into this guy who told him all about his life, and then he, killed him and took over his body and went home to his children. The moral of this story is, no matter how happy you feel during the holidays, remember that your bartender could be a Skrull in disguise. The next story was Werewolf by Eve. So this featured Werewolf by Night. It was the shortest of all the comics. It was just 3 panels. So one was the home of Werewolf by Night with his family on Christmas Eve, that same home at midnight, and then that same home the next morning, the same room. So they're all decorating for Christmas, everybody's happy, they seem to be hanging out. Middle of the night, there's Werewolf by Night destroying the whole place, and then everybody upset on Christmas morning and him being like, whoops, sorry, werewolf. I thought it was pretty clever and didn't really require anything else, it was just fun. The fourth story is Santa Claus versus the Illuminati. So, this is a very, again, simple story, but the basic gist is all of the reindeer were Skrulls. And so Santa doesn't have a way to deliver presents, so everybody who has an Infinity Stone gets together. They give Santa the Infinity Gauntlet. The Infinity Gauntlet drives him mad, and they all have to fight him. The Submariner hits him in the face with a snowball, which allows him to drop the Infinity Gauntlet. And then, lo and behold, Tony Stark has a whole bunch of iron reindeer robots ready to go. And so Santa heads off with robo versions of all of his reindeer to deliver presents. And the last panel's really fun because it ends with people asking Tony why he has a bunch of reindeer robots. And Namor just being like, I'm the best snowball thrower that has ever existed. I don't know much about the Submariner, but clearly I should read more. The next story is Holiday Heat. This features the Divas, and the Divas is a group made up of Hellcat, Black Cat, Firestar, and who's the last one? Photon. I do not know much about these characters besides Black Cat, and that's only because she appears heavily in Spider-Man. But I do know that the Divas had some controversy for a while because it was like this set of comics that came out featuring these 4 women, and it was all about them trying to deal with relationship issues, and a lot of people were really, really against it. And I don't know, I haven't read it, so I don't really have any opinions, but this little story was pretty heartfelt. So Firestar had breast cancer, and she's sort of recovering and hasn't wanted to be a superhero because she's nervous because it's possible that her powers caused her cancer, and so she just isn't sure she wants to use them. But she's out on the town with her best friends, and they're just having a nice day, and then a truck crashes into the Rockefeller tree, and it starts to fall on people, and she has to use her powers to save them. And it's sort of an uplifting thing where she realizes that it doesn't matter what her powers have done, what she is a hero who saves people, and she's going to continue to do that. And I thought that it was a good show of like women just hanging out and being friends and also being awesome superheroes, and I enjoyed it. The next one is called Merry Frickin' Christmas, and it features Deadpool, so clearly it is my favorite of the options I was given in this holiday special. So, turns out that the North Pole is like a locked down militarized system, and Deadpool breaks in by distracting the reindeer first with the Trojan reindeer, which causes all the elves to head out, and then sneaking into Santa's workshop, putting a sleeper hold on the last guardian elf, and he is trying to get to the system where the list is stored. And so he tries to get there, and then Santa attacks him. And of course, Santa is awesome, gives Deadpool a serious run for his money. There's this great line where Deadpool's like, he moves with the speed of somebody who delivers toys to 3 billion people in one night. And I just thought that that was great. And also, he was like, okay, I'm only going to have one shot. I've got to take it. Oh no, it's too late. He put his finger to the side of his nose and basically punches Deadpool straight in the face. And it's a riot. It's a fun little bit. Turns out Deadpool was there because some guy paid him because he was tired of getting coal and wanted to be off the naughty list. And Santa was literally like, but you make the list every year. He's like, yeah, I know, but you never get me what I actually want. And so Santa shows him the set of monsters of communism Pez dispensers. And then the last shot is this guy sitting in his home, and he's like, oh, I hear hooves. Who could that be? Maybe it's Santa. I'm finally getting the gift. And Deadpool drops down a chimney. He's like, sorry, dude, you've been outbid. And just lets the machine gun go. And it's great. It's irreverent, it's violent, and it's everything I want from a Deadpool holiday short. The final one is Rock of Ages. This is a Fantastic Four story, and I've realized that the Fantastic Four are a huge staple of holiday stories. And I think this is partially because they have this sort of family togetherness sort of thing. One thing that bothered me about this is, so this is the Fantastic Four, like, getting presents, and then heading out to the soup kitchen where they volunteer. And along the way, they drop off Ben at synagogue because he's Jewish, and so he celebrates Hanukkah instead. And I know that he's Jewish. It's kind of a thing that, like, he and Kitty Pryde are the only Jewish superheroes, which is not entirely true. There are definitely others, but they're the main ones. It just bothered me that the Fantastic Four seemed so like, oh, how do you spell Hanukkah? And what is Hanukkah? And what do you do with this? And and I understand that part of it is that they want to, like, educate people on the Jewish tradition of Hanukkah, and I appreciate that, but I feel like Ben could tell somebody other than the 3 people that he spends most of his life with who should have figured this out by now. Like, they just came across as almost inconsiderate just because like by now you should know what his traditions are and his celebration. He's been doing this his whole life, and he's been doing it the whole time you've lived together. So I thought that that was kind of weird. But the story itself was really cute. There was a set of tigers outside of the synagogue, and the Fantastic Four, well, the Fantastic Three, I guess, because Ben was in synagogue, stopped them and waited for Ben so they could go to the soup kitchen together. And it was just a cute little happy holiday story. It just kind of bugs me. Ben could teach a lot of people about Hanukkah, like literally anyone who is not the three people who live with him and should know this by now. So that was the This Week in Marvel Unlimited Reading Club. I enjoyed it. I had a good time. As always, I'm looking for recommendations, anything that's in Marvel Unlimited that you think I should read. I'm chewing my way through Runaways right now because I'm watching that set on Hulu, and I plan to do a review of both of them once I get through the season on Hulu. I'm also chewing my way through Old School Deadpool that I hadn't read. So look forward to some of that, and I'll see you tomorrow.